Why in the world would an entire university kowtow to a group of athletes who are not known for their brains when it is supposed to be an institution of higher learning, not football playing? When I read you the list of demands issued to the university by the subliterates, you'll see that we've gone back 50 years as a result of the president's, I would say, very subtle racism that he has provoked in this nation. If these football players are so sensitive to issues, I ask you, don't you think the university should have said to them, we are addressing these issues, but if you continue to protest and you continue to sit in or whatever you're going to do, we're going to dismiss you from the university until you come back. This is not about you. This is about us. We run the university, not you. Football players are not known for their brains. Let's be clear. They're known for their brawn. Well, I want to read you what a black sportscaster had to say today on ESPN2. Co-host Stephen A. Smith reacted to the news of the University of Missouri president, Tim Wolf, being forced to resign amid racial tension and protests on campus. Mr. Smith first said that Wolf had to go due to the black football players skipping out on football activities until he steps down. I disagree, by the way. I would have dismissed the football players and suspended football. And remember what the mission of a university is. It's not football. It's learning. But nevertheless, he later added that, quote, everyone who is white is not racist. Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. Warning black America, he did, that just because someone with different pigmentation disagrees with them does not make them racist. He continued, and remember, he is African American. To white Americans out there, accept the reality that to some level racism exists. It's inescapable. It's a reality, Smith said. But to black America, let me make this statement. Everyone who is white is not racist. Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. And it's important to point out that because with this particular incident, it was warranted. But that doesn't mean we turn around and the second somebody disagrees with us of a different hue, pigmentation, culture, etc. The second somebody might be oblivious or ignorant to what we are, what we believe, what we feel, doesn't make them racist. Just like folks have an obligation to get whatever racist tendencies may be inside their bones, we have an obligation to appreciate there are a lot of people in this God-fearing country that we live in who are not racist. Don't be so quick to jump, he cautioned. They forced the president of the University of Missouri, Tom Wolf, they fire him in essence, because he didn't handle student complaints about race properly. Now, I don't have any idea why he would resign. He wasn't responsible for any of these things. And I read their list of demands, you see. The list of demands are identical to that of the Black Panthers of the 1960s. The same fist in the air, the same demand for more minorities, the same old, same old, same old. I have a question. Why weren't the football players suspended who threatened not to play? It's that simple. Suspend them. So I realize that universities today are more about sports than they are about academia. That I get. And that sports bring them a lot of money. I get that as well. And it's all about money. And so that's why you have an upside-down, topsy-turvy world. That's the opening to the show. And now I'll read you some of the demands of the, what group is this now? It's racial turmoil. Oh, Concerned Student 1950. And they issued the demands to the university last month. 1, we demand that the University of Missouri System President Tim Wolf writes a handwritten apology to the Concerned Student 1950 demonstrators and holds a press conference in the Mizzou Student Center reading a letter. This is right out of communist China, by the way, where they forced people who were not compliant with communism to admit their wrongdoing and stand and be ashamed in the streets. This is straight out communism. It's a disaster. In the letter and at the press conference, they say, Tim Wolf must acknowledge his white male privilege, recognize the systems of oppression exist, and provide a verbal commitment to fulfilling Concerned Student 1950 demands. We want Tim Wolf to admit to his gross negligence, allowing his driver to hit one of the demonstrators, yeah, right, consenting to the physical violence of bystanders, and lastly, refusing to intervene when Columbia Police Department used excessive force with demonstrators. All right, I don't even want to read anymore. You get the picture. You get the picture. The thugs are now running the university. Period. End of story. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it because I put up with this my whole life. How do you feel about that? Do you feel that these football players did the right thing by forcing a university president out? Or do you feel, as I do, that they should have been told that they will be thrown out of the university if they don't Well, let's say do their job. It's that simple. If you don't do your job or you want to protest, good for you. We live in a free country. But you don't demand that the president resign, do you? What did he have to do with their complaints? Nothing. You see this going on in the L.A. Times or the San Francisco Chronicle, where they're outing people who use too much water. You're seeing it with the goon squads on the campuses demanding that college presidents publicly apologize with handwritten notes. You don't understand history. I do. I'm paid to understand it. You're paid to walk around and enjoy yourself. I'm paid to suffer for your sins of ignorance. They humiliated anyone who disagreed with them. They humiliated publicly someone they called anyone who was a rightist, was paraded through the streets of their town with mocking placards hung around their necks. And in time, the public shaming became violent. People were beaten to death in the streets. Many Chinese committed suicide as a result of their ordeal. Do you understand what this social turmoil was? Do you know what it did to the intellectual and social life of China? Do you know what the vermin on the campuses are doing to the intellectual and social life of the United States of America? I hope you understand that what happened in China is happening now in America in baby form, and it's being orchestrated by Chairman Obama. Yes, you may think that it's about racism, but it has nothing to do with racism. It's about the left-wing agenda. They are messianic in their zeal. They are no different than ISIS in their desire to control dialogue. The only thing separating them from ISIS is a gun or a sword. You want to talk about that? WABC, Stephen, you want to talk about the Missouri incident? Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate your taking the call. And this is all based on my opinion that the University of Missouri, it's a university with a football team. It's not a football team with a university.
I made that point yesterday. Since when did universities become a hostage to the idiots on the ball teams? You know what you say to them? Tell you what, we're ending football. Go home. You're finished. Get out of here. It's a university. You're telling me a student in astrophysics has to now take a course in affirmative action and listen to the wonders of reality here, the fake reality that they put out?
My proposal, and I'd like to know what you think of it.
Here's a proposal. Get rid of the sports on colleges, and don't take the dummies in. That's all. Let the dummies go somewhere else.
I have a proposal I would like you to listen to. Can I read this to you?
Go ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. First of all, they've got to hire a PR firm to describe to the media what they're going to do, and then they've got to make a business plan to absorb the losses that they're going to take during the suspension of football at the University of Missouri. They suspend the football season, and they bring in a small police and National Guard contingent. They offer the students involved the opportunity to continue as students, or that's it, they're expelled. And they would be subject to the laws keeping the campus safe for all the other students that are not football, players.
Yeah, I understand. Most athletes are stupid. Everybody knows that they're admitted only for their prowess on the field. That's understood. That's been going on for decades in this country. I heard about it at Berkeley. They were taking in student athletes who had D averages because they were good at sports. Okay, it's gone on. But never before have I seen these dummies take over a campus and say, do it our way. That's called a retrograde mentality. You're going to take a young man who's studying astrophysics on how to launch a rocket and brainwash him with the garbage that they want to put on. Have you seen their list of demands?
This is the tail wagging the dog, for sure. Exactly what it is.
I wouldn't use the word tail wagging the dog. I would use other flowery words, but this is a family show. WABC, Jim, go ahead, please. You have an interesting point.
Yes, 2 points. First off, I agree with you that there's got to be some kind of choreographic effort being made, because from one institution to the next, they're singing the same tune. And secondly, this 1950 organization in Missouri not only caused a man to lose his job, take care of his family, but also they want him to admit that there's white privilege think about this, Michael. If there was white privilege, this man would never have been forced to remove his job.
Look, let's stop with the white privilege. We know the reverse is true right now. Let's not spell it out so they can crucify me with it. This is identical to the Cultural Revolution of Mao Zedong's China, where they forced people who were expressing old culture, old customs, old ideas to apologize, publicly humiliated them, made them walk through the streets with placards hung around their necks. How different is what happened in communist China to what these thugs demanded of the president, that he write out an apology and read it in public? It's right out of Mao Zedong's playbook.
Exactly.
But I'm the only one in the media who said that. I'm the only one who made the connection. And that's because in the past I talked about the Cultural Revolution of Mao Zedong, which, by the way, led to the killing of 30 million people. Don't think it ends with students screaming and shooting their loud mouths off. It ends very badly unless they are stopped right now. And that means standing up and saying, no, you're the ones who are the evil ones. You are the ones who are conducting hurtful speech. You are the ones who need to stop right now. And that has to come from the liberals in America who still have the guts to stand up to these low-life thugs. Thank you for the call. Have we covered this topic sufficient? I don't know. I don't know you could ever cover a topic like this sufficiently. I don't know if it's a topic that's even resonating with the average American. All I know is that I see it as something contextually related to Mao Zedong. We then have Senator Claire McCaskill, again, an individual who needs no introduction, who congratulates the thugs on the campus. And listen to clips 6 and 7 on the Savage Nation.
I certainly have been in contact with the administration, but the credit goes to these kids. The credit goes to these kids who took a stand. I was proud that it wasn't just the black players that were in that picture. It was the team and the coach that all kind of came together and said,
So here is one of the progenitors of this thuggish revolution in America, a far-left radical, Claire McCaskill, a sitting U.S. senator who congratulates mobs for humiliating a university president who was totally innocent. Then you have a Missouri professor, another, it's an oxymoron when you say professor of journalism now, when you look at who they hire, these types. Here is some Alyssa Glick thing, pledging even more of what she conducted on the campus in clip 9.
We, concerned faculty group, pledged to walk out both Monday and Tuesday.
Hold it. Walk out forever. Walk out forever, Glick. Go get a job in a deli in New York. Serve pickles and corned beef.
Students, which is, I think, the real priority right now, letting them know that, while their campsite is up, we are supporting them on their side, advocating for racial justice and social justice here on campus.
You're full of garbage, you lowlife. You, in my day, the most you ever could have been was a server in a delicatessen. You probably wouldn't have lasted in a deli for more than an hour with your attitude. That's a college professor today, planning a walkout Monday and Tuesday. Hey, Melissa, walk out forever. Do us all a favor. Walk out. Take a walk out. Take a flight to China. See if you can reinstitute the Cultural Revolution there. You loudmouth, you. Why don't you have anything to say about the killing of Christians in the Middle East with your sensitivities to hateful speech? Why don't you take a look at the real hate on the planet? The rape of young girls by your friends in Islam. I better stop. There's only so far I want to go. Only so far I want to go. Maybe I'm reaching a point of no return. Maybe words are not enough to stop this tidal wave of human trash that's sweeping over America. I'll stop right here. Back in a minute.